Hello and welcome. It's pretty wild how learning has gone from just being about textbooks to now including interactive software and even global classrooms online, right? Well, today we're going to dive deep into exactly that. Technology Enhanced Learning, or TEL. This is a huge part of your IT syllabus, and really getting your head around it is going to give you a massive advantage in your A-level exams.
So here's our game plan for today. We'll kick things off with the big picture. What even is TEL? From there, we'll break down the four main types you absolutely have to know. We'll look at computer-based training, those interactive online tutorials, the more closed-off networked courses, and then we'll go global with MOOCs. Definitely stick around to the end because we're going to tie it all together with a really useful recap and even tackle some proper exam questions.
Before we get buried in definitions, just take a second to think about the world around you. I mean, we've got language apps on our phones, university lectures streaming from halfway across the planet. Technology is literally reshaping how we learn new things. And that's exactly why understanding these different methods, and crucially their pros and cons, is so important.
All right, let's get into it. Section 1. We're starting with the absolute foundation, just so we have a super clear, simple definition for what technology-enhanced learning is all about.
Okay, so the easiest way to think about technology-enhanced learning is as this huge umbrella term. At its heart, it's basically any time we use tech to help with learning and teaching. Simple as that. Every single thing we talk about today, whether it's an old-school program on a CD-ROM or a massive course from a top university, it all fits right under this TEL umbrella.
Right, let's get into our first specific type, computer-based training, or CBT. I like to think of this as learning unplugged. For a lot of us, this was probably our first taste of digital learning. And the key thing to remember is that it often works without any internet connection at all.
So the most crucial point here is that CBT is usually this self-contained offline experience. You get the software, you pop it on your computer, and you just work your way through it. It's all about learning that's completely independent of a network.
So what does this actually look like? Well, we're often talking about software that comes on a disk, which is what gives you that awesome flexibility to learn totally offline. The programs themselves can be really structured, taking you from point A to B to C, or they can be nonlinear, letting you jump around and choose your own adventure, so to speak. And the simulation part, that's huge. Imagine being able to practice a tricky science experiment or even repair a car engine virtually all before you touch the real thing. That's a classic example of CBT in action. And now for the trade-offs. This is absolutely vital for your exams. On the one hand, the advantages are great. You get total flexibility to learn at your own pace, and the material is consistent for everyone. But the disadvantages are pretty big too. You completely lose that live interaction with a teacher. The cost to develop these programs in the first place can be astronomical. And let's be honest, for some people, just sitting alone in front of a screen can be super demotivating.
So we've just seen what standalone offline learning looks like. Now, let's see what happens when we plug into the internet and actually connect with a real live teacher.
The absolute game changer here is interaction. This isn't like the solo journey of CBT. This is all about connecting with people. And that connection can be synchronous, which means it's happening live right now, like a video class, or it can be asynchronous, happening at different times, like posting a question on a forum and getting an answer a few hours later. So, what's the deal here? The upside is massive. You get incredible flexibility and you can access expert teachers from literally anywhere in the world. But the downsides are just as real. It all depends on having a stable internet connection. And there's a lot of pressure, both on the teacher to create amazing, engaging content and on the student to actually stay motivated without a physical classroom to keep them on track.
Okay, next up, let's zoom in a bit and look at how learning can be set up inside a single organization, like a school or a company. This is where networked courses come into play. The best way to picture this is to think of your school's own private online learning zone. All the materials, the tests, the resources, they're all stored on an internal network, or an intranet, that you need a special login to get into. It's like a walled garden, but for learning. With this one, it's all about balancing control against access. The benefits are really clear. You get a built-in community of classmates to help you out, it's super easy for teachers to update materials for everyone at once, and you can get instant feedback from automated quizzes. The big downside, though, is being locked down. If you can only access the materials when you're physically on the school's network, you lose all of that anytime, anywhere learning magic.
All right, so we've gone from the closed, private network of a single school. Now let's zoom all the way out and look at the entire globe with our final type of TEL.
Honestly, the name tells you everything you need to know.
It's massive because you can have thousands, even hundreds of thousands of students in one course. It's open because pretty much anyone can join, no special qualifications needed. It's online because, well, it's all delivered over the internet. And it's a course because it's a structured program about a specific topic.
We are talking about education on a truly global scale here. You've got top-tier universities and huge tech companies offering super high-quality video lectures and materials to anyone, anywhere, on platforms like Coursera or edX. The way they usually work is what we call freemium. You can learn all the stuff for free, but if you want that official certificate at the end, that's going to cost you.
I mean, the upsides here are nothing short of revolutionary. Getting free access to a world-class education is a total game changer. But the barriers are also very real. You need a rock-solid internet connection. A lot of the best courses have an English language barrier. Getting that certificate can be expensive, and here's the big one. They almost never count as official credit towards a university degree. It's an incredibly powerful system, but it's not perfect.
Okay, phew. We have covered a lot of ground, the 4 main types of technology-enhanced learning. So now, let's pull all that information together and really sharpen our focus for exam day.
This table right here is the perfect summary. It's your cheat sheet. Just look at how you can compare all 4 methods across these key criteria that examiners love. Check out the connectivity, going from completely offline CBT all the way to globally online MOOCs. And look at how the scale just explodes, from an individual user to the entire world. Understanding these differences in accessibility, in scale, in the teacher's role, that's what gets you the top marks.
So, as you're revising, just use this as your checklist. Number 1, can you define each method in your own words? 2, can you argue both the pros and the cons? 3, can you think of a specific real-world example for each? And 4, can you clearly explain what makes them different from each other? If you can honestly tick all 4 of those boxes, you are in great shape for any question they can throw at you.
All right, let's put this into practice. Here's a classic 8-mark question. Now, to nail this, you need a balanced argument. For the positive side, you could talk about how empowering it is to learn at your own pace. For the negative side, you'd want to focus on that feeling of isolation and the lack of a teacher to help you when you're stuck. Go on, pause the explainer here for a minute and just scribble down a few points for each side of the argument.
And here's another one they love to ask. It's basically a to what extent question in disguise. Now, the obvious answer is, yeah, you save money on teacher salaries. But to get all 6 marks, you have to think deeper. What about the massive upfront cost of actually developing or buying the CBT software? What about the ongoing cost from maintenance and tech support? Think about the hidden costs.
And that pretty much brings us to the end. As we've seen, the technology itself, from a simple bit of software to a massive global course, is really only half the story. The other half is you. So my final question to leave you with is this. In this new world of digital, global learning, what do you think is the single most important skill you need to succeed? Thanks for joining me today.